Welcome to lesson 6. Have you ever met a bird with an attitude? I bet you have. A person's attitude can tell you a lot about them in a particular moment. And for the most part, their posture mimics their attitude, whether they know it or not. This leads us to the next question. Question number 5. What is its posture? In birds, posture is less fluid than it is in humans. And maybe that's because birds express fewer emotions. I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of people who have lots of theories about whether or not birds have emotions or not, so we'll leave that discourse to those better suited for that kind of discussion. For our purposes here in this lesson, I want you to think about posture as one of those aspects of a bird that doesn't vary too much, especially within a family. And figuratively speaking, a bird's posture is its attitude, or the way it carries itself. Simply put, a bird's anatomical build defines what it is capable of doing. So, for instance, one family of birds might be more comfortable on the ground moving about, but have a really hard time getting up and flying with ease, whereas another family has wings that articulate in such a way that it can fly both forward and backward, unlike any other family. Birds have adopted particular attitudes or postures based on their unique structures. Here's another way to look at it. We often think of a person who's confident as someone who stands with a straight and tall posture, while someone who maybe slouches is thought of as shy or reserved or maybe even less confident. Now, is it the tall posture that gives them the confidence or the confidence that gives them the tall posture? I don't know, I think that's up for debate. Just remember that in the same way that a bird's bill can define who the bird is and what family it's in, its posture can do the same, though less obviously, because many bird families share similar postures. So, to figure out what a bird's posture is, you want to first identify what the bird is standing on and at what angle in relation to the line that goes from the bird's back, which goes from the nape of its neck all the way down to its rump. Except in some birds where the line continues all the way down to the tail, like in the wren family, it kind of makes like this check mark. An important note here is that you want to make sure that you're looking for the bird's baseline posture, not the posture it happens to find itself in for just a moment or two. Let's take a break for just a moment and check out advanced tip number 5. Alright, now I'd like to share a story that helps to distinguish two of the most common postures, horizontal, and upright. So last summer I was leading a bird walk and it actually ended up turning into more of a bird stand because we looked like a whole bunch of scarecrows from the Wizard of Oz. We were just pointing this way and that way and this bird and that bird. There was just so many birds that we were seeing. And at one moment we were standing there and watching this small little flock of lesser goldfinch. They were up in the cottonwood trees, and one woman saw another little bird fly in, a little yellow bird, she thought. And so the rest of us were trying to get a good look at it and trying to figure out what it was, but behind all of those gorgeous chartreuse leaves of the cottonwoods, it was just almost impossible to see any distinct markings on this bird. And so after a little while, I asked the group to just kind of take a step back for a moment and see if they could determine what the posture of the bird was, because at least even through that mesh of leaves, we'd still be able to see the posture of the bird, if not all the markings. And so one woman spoke up and said, well, it looks like it's kind of standing sort of horizontal. And I said, great, all right, so now try and remember what posture did the goldfinch have? And another woman spoke up and she said, well, I'm pretty sure that they were in more of an upright and tall posture. And I said, yeah, they were. And so with this identification of the posture, we were able to determine that that bird that came in was actually a new bird, and most likely it was a warbler, because warblers tend to have more of a horizontal posture, whereas the goldfinches tend to have more of the upright posture. This is one of those questions that's really easy to overlook because it's just so simple. But like this story just illustrated, it really can be the clincher sometimes in determining one family versus another one. All right, great work. Your activity is next. It should take you about 7 minutes, and I think you should be able to do this one without using your field guide. So give it a shot.